My name is Ben Westhoff, and I'm the director of this documentary. How did I get into this? Well, I spent 3 years writing my book, Fentanyl, Inc., which explored how fentanyl became the worst drug crisis in American history. I interviewed users, public health officials, drug dealers. I even went undercover inside a Chinese fentanyl lab. After the book came out, I presented on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., and U.S. senators and congressmen reached out to me for my advice on how to fight the opioid crisis. I was giving a book reading in St. Louis in 2020, and after my reading, this guy came up to me named Percy Menzies.
I joke saying I often get into trouble because I'm often seen as the contrarian. My name is Percy Menzies, and I'm the president of the Assisted Recovery Centers of America.
He kept talking about this treatment drug called naltrexone. So I had barely heard of naltrexone at all. And from what I had read about it, it really was kind of slandered in the press. Even though naltrexone is one of only 3 opioid medications approved by the FDA, it's barely discussed in the media, and when it is, it's usually in a negative manner.
That we lose over 100 people a day, 107,000 people in the year 2021. That, my friends, is totally unacceptable.
Naltrexone seemed to have this huge potential, but the question now was, why are people not talking about this? We're here at the Recovet house in South St. Louis, where users and former users are going to talk with us about why they have used naltrexone and Vivitrol and the difference it's made in their lives.
This is our house on Arsenal. This is where we will bring the guys in off the street and attempt to get them into treatment. So everyone here is either a veteran or a veteran family member.
I started using drugs when I was 9 years old. Then I came to the city, and about the age of 24, I was introduced to heroin.
I was in the Navy for 12 years. I was what you call a field medical service technician. So, in layman's term, a combat medic.
So it was 5:30 in the morning, I was going to work. The only thing I remember was going through a green light, taking a drink of my coffee, and then waking up in the hospital. There was a dump truck that didn't yield. He ran a light and he T-boned my truck.
My addiction really picked up. I went from that social binge drinking to isolated drinking very quickly after I returned from Afghanistan.
And one thing led to the next, and become a full-blown heroin addict.
Before I was on Vivitrol and I was newly in recovery, I was constantly just trying to not think about it. Trying to not think about heroin, trying to not think about fentanyl.
And then I lost my father to an overdose in 15. And you would think that would be enough, but it wasn't, so it got worse. And then I lost my mother to an overdose in 2017. And you would think that would have been enough, but it wasn't. It got worse. And then in 2019, I lost my baby sister to an overdose, and it got worse.
He is 6 foot 3 inches tall. When he came to us, he weighed 97 pounds.
I overdosed 11 times. The last one almost killed me.
What do you think is particularly useful about naltrexone and Vivitrol?
It's a godsend. I have guys that can come in and be struggling, and they can get their shot and it turns their life around.
I can honestly say that Vivitrol is what has saved my life. Without it, I would not be sitting here with you today.
It saved my life because it took away the cravings, the urges, the thoughts of it. It gave me time to recenter and get to know who I was as an individual, instead of wearing all these masks that I was accustomed of wearing.
For me, the most impactful thing about Vivitrol is just the way that it takes away the fantasizing. You don't spend your time thinking about the possibility of doing heroin or fentanyl.
It would seem like the overwhelming point is that there is help. you can get something done about it. So many people who should know better, they say there's no help. We start taking the stuff, there's just no way to get out of it.
This is the longest I've ever been sober in 31 years. I'm almost 7.5 months clean. The feeling of Vivitrol just makes me feel like I've been reborn again. You know, just learning how to live life again, learning how to feel, learning how to see life on life's terms, and it brings you back to life. It's my personal opinion. It's a miracle.
I will draw on my background as an investigative reporter to create a meticulously researched, groundbreaking, beautiful, moving film.
It is time that we work with incredible urgency to let the public know that we have an incredible tool that can douse the bonfire of the opiate epidemic and finally bring this tragedy to an end.